Today, Kasoma Farouk of Uganda is trying to look into Africa. Into what? Africa. Our scenario item goes, across several African countries, a growing concern has emerged among leaders and educators. Many younger people today seem detached from the idea of African unity, pride, and political engagement. While all past generations fought for independence through sacrifice, modern youth often prioritize social media over civic responsibility. In response, a continental youth community for leadership forum has been organized, bringing together students, community organizers, and emerging leaders to see why African nationalism, once a unifying and mobilization force, appears weakened in the modern era. During the opening session, facilitators present historical case studies of how Africans once mobilized to demand equality and self-determination. They highlight how communities drew inspiration from leaders, diasporic movements, intellectual debates, and grassroots activism. Yet in the discussion that follows, participants acknowledge that many of these in this kind of arrangement, many of these sources of inspiration have reduced in influence. Today, social unity, civic participation, and collective action seem to have eroded in many urban and rural settings. The forum organizers now pose a challenge to the participants. How can we learn from the historical struggles for Africa's self-determination to foster a renewed sense of nationalism today? So we need to understand what we learn in this kind of arrangement. So students are expected to clearly identify and explain what they learn from the historical struggles for Africa's self-determination to foster a renewed sense of nationalism today. Nationalism today. So we are saying African nationalism is an expression of hostility to foreign rule and domination in all of its forms. So we need to understand what the leaders, what younger leaders should learn from Africa's struggles. Number one, younger Africans must resist oppression and injustice, since oppressive policies like forced labor, unfair taxation, and land grabbing awakened nationalism in the early years. So we are saying younger Africans must resist oppression and injustice. Another one, younger Africans should value self-determination, since nationalist leaders fought for independence to control their political, economic, and social destinies. So young Africans should value self-determination. Should value self-what? Determination. As others did, even young Africans should value this. Another one, young Africans should develop courage to oppose tyranny, since leaders like Nkrumah Kenyatta risked imprisonment to challenge colonial rule. Another one, young Africans must prioritize unity over tribalism. Young Africans must prioritize unity over what? Tribalism. Since the colonial powers divided Africans, and by this time, younger Africans must prioritize unity. Must prioritize what? Unity. Another one, young Africans should pursue education to empower themselves. We are saying today, young Africans should pursue education to empower themselves. To empower them what? Themselves. To see that they achieve. Another one, young Africans should build the global solidarity network, since support from African diaspora and Pan-African movement strengthen liberation efforts across the continent. So the young Africans should build global solidarity, solidarity. As others got support, even young Africans should get what? Support. Another one, young Africans should acquire skills for strategic preparedness. In other words, they should acquire skills like militarism to fight those people that really are not controlling them in a great way. Another one, young Africans should use international platforms for advocacy. Young Africans should use international platforms for advocacy. Should use the international platforms for advocacy. They should use international platforms to advocate for what Africa needs. And this will help. Young Africans must use peaceful and non-violent activism since Pakistan achieved independence through non-violence. Through non-violence. So even younger Africans should use peaceful means. We are saying the lessons they learn from the earlier struggles all together. So the young Africans should learn this. Another one, young Africans should resist injustice through multiple strategies. We are saying today, young Africans should resist injustice. They should resist injustice. As the leaders like Nkrumah resisted injustice, even young Africans should resist injustice. Another one, young Africans should use the media to mobilize the people, like newspapers. Like what? Newspapers. For example, you remember in Ghana, the Accra Evening News was used to fight for independence. So younger Africans also should use the media. Another one, young Africans should get visionary leadership. Young Africans should get visionary what? Leadership. The leaders that are visionary, should be used. And by this time, Africa will get changes. Another one, young Africans must remain persistent in pursuing for change. In other words, they should not give up. Young Africans should not do what? Give up. Change is rising up. Where we are saying today, young Africans should not give up. Should not do what? Give up. Another one, young Africans should learn from other countries' struggles. Since nationalist movements in Vietnam succeeded, so young Africans should learn from other countries' struggles. From other countries' what? Struggles. So we are saying young Africans should promote, should call for equality. Should call for what? That all people are supposed to be equal if Africa is to be liberated. So we are saying we need to know the lessons young Africans learn from the earlier struggles, from the earlier what? Struggles. Another one, young Africans must study history to build better governance. Young Africans must study history to build better governance. So we are saying young Africans must study history to build better governance. To build better what? Governance. Change is rising up. So we need to understand the lessons young Africans should learn to see that Africa should rise up from one level to another what? To another level. Change is rising up. So we need to understand the lessons younger Africans should learn in this kind of arrangement to see that Africa rises from one level to another what? To another level. So in this kind of arrangement, you need to know our scenario item. Our scenario